Hello everyone, welcome to Football Mania. Today we'll be previewing the game between Chelsea and Leeds. And to do that, I have with me Pranay, a member from our community. So let's take it up, Pranay. What did you think about the lineups? Did Frank got it right?
Yeah, I think the lineups were good. Understandably, two changes from last week. Havertz came in and deservedly so Giroud started ahead of Tammy Abraham after his masterclass midweek. So I think the lineups, maybe Havertz was a bit slow, but that's more down to Leeds' high intensity, high pressing game, and he hasn't yet adapted to the Premier League that much. So maybe Kovacic could have started, but luckily it didn't cost us too much. And Leeds were also unchanged after their
Yeah.
win victory over Everton, so that was also understandable.
So now coming on to the game, you guys pretty started pretty poorly. Of all people, Patrick Bamford, your former player, scored again. So what did you think of that
Yeah,
goal? Who would you put down?
I thought actually both teams started on the front foot, and Chelsea, it was actually a Chelsea attack where Werner scored a goal. If you want to be too critical, we can say maybe Mendy made some lack of decision some to some extent, but I think that was a well-worked counter-attacking goal. I won't take anything away from Leeds. And yes, Bamford scored. Good for him. He chose not to celebrate, which was not required exactly because he didn't play at all for Chelsea. So
Yeah.
that's okay. But luckily, we responded well. And yeah, Timo Werner, we all saw that missed. I don't know how he
Yeah.
missed, but yeah.
Yeah, talk me through that miss. Are you worried about Timo Werner? He's getting on the end of pretty good chances, but he's missing them too. So, are you worried about him, or do you think he'll eventually
Yeah,
catch up?
yeah, I think I'm not too worried because the main thing for this as a striker is to get into those positions. That's the first thing which he's doing right. And these kind of misses are not too permanent. They will go away soon. It's just a patch right now. I mean, a few weeks ago, Timo Werner was scoring regularly, so it's he's just going through that phase right now, and hopefully he'll catch up again. So I'm not worried about Timo Werner, but Kai Havertz, maybe he needs a little bit more time. He's young. He's just 21. But Timo, I'm not too concerned.
Now, coming on to Giroud, he has been pretty much top of the last two games for you guys. So, how good did he play this game?
I think Giroud played quite well. He was a constant threat from corners throughout, which was a concern for Leeds also. They were not able to win that first header from set pieces. And he could have scored right before Leeds scored. He had a half chance at the near post from the corner. And then in the second half also he had a chance when it was 2-1. He got a free header inside the box, which he missed. And yeah, I think whatever we expect of Giroud, his movement, in terms of his movement, his link-up play, bringing Timo Werner in and Christian Pulisic in, that was all pretty good. So yeah, solid performance and deserves to keep his place in my opinion for a few more games.
As far as I've seen, Werner plays better with another striker next to him. So, would you stick with Giroud for as you said for the Everton game too, or would you go with Abraham on that one?
It's a tough one actually because Giroud is in form right now, and I think they should go with Giroud. And if it doesn't work out, then obviously Tammy can come. He can provide that a little bit more pace and what Giroud lacks. But based on the form right now, I would go with Olivier Giroud only.
Any individual performances you were impressed by in the lead game?
I think Mason Mount in particular was a standout performer. I think Reece James had a pretty solid game as well. Thiago Silva was again pretty composed. throughout. But in particular, if you want to ask me, I think Mason Mount is the one who impressed me the most.
So would you like go with the same 11 for the Everton game?
Yes, I think I would go for the same 11. Uh, See, we have a midweek game against Krasnodar, which is dead rubber,
Yeah.
and fringe players like Abraham. Okay, he's not a fringe player, but still, it's a good game to for him to get his confidence back. So I think a lot of stars performers from yesterday can be rested for that game. So next week, yeah, I'll go for the same lineup. I would want to play Havertz so that he gets more minutes and settles well. I think Everton will be a good test for him. And yeah, I'll stick with the same 11.
Now,
And but obviously, sorry to interrupt.
yeah.
Obviously, Ziyech is a concern. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he recovers well because he's been important for us.
Yeah. So like I was gonna ask, like any thoughts you have other than what I asked about the Leeds game, what you saw?
I think it shows that this team has real good fighting spirit. And last season when we used to fall behind in games, we would at max achieve a draw. But this season, luckily, already like against Sheffield United, also we came from behind to win. Against Leeds, also we came from behind to win, and against West Brom, we were 3-0 down, but still managed to pull it through. So I think this is the champions mentality, so to speak, which is required. But still, I'm not too carried away for Chelsea to win the title. I think they can challenge, but what my concern is their contenders have like seasoned winners as their managers. If you look at Klopp or if you look at Mourinho, maybe that experience could play a part in terms of costing the title to Chelsea.
I was gonna actually ask you about that. Right now, we're top of the table, waiting for the London North London derby. What's the feeling for that game?
See, any Tottenham game, obviously by default we would want Tottenham to lose, none more so than this one. And we can support Arsenal because they are going through a rough patch right now. They are not gonna harm Chelsea or threaten Chelsea's position in any way. So yeah, it's all the reasons to support Arsenal in this one today.
I hope Willian finally turns up for the one game he always does.
Yeah, if you will see came from Chelsea, maybe he can help his former side a little today.
Okay, so yeah, that way, thank you so much for doing this, man. Hope we can do this again after the Everton game.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Kashyap.
Yeah, yeah. Just a second.